Welcome back to Vox Terra. The show's purpose it is to, as you know by now, get people to focus their politics on the long-term survival of our species instead of pounding their fists about some of these hot-button social issues. Last show, I put forward that Bernie Sanders was the first candidate, major presidential candidate in my lifetime that I heard articulate in simple, clear fashion what I believe to be the biggest problem society faces, other than that which lies in our hearts. And that is that all this wealth is accumulating in some upper echelons of society, and in particular industries, as Bernie points out, the fossil fuel industry. He almost always opens all of the debates with that. The fossil fuel industry and their power and their decades of denial is why we are facing this climate crisis. So last show, I point out that he was the first candidate I heard articulate it that way. And I thought that was a really useful way to articulate it to promote the long-term survival of our species. To that point, I can tell you from my own personal experience, I've been talking about climate change, previously called global warming, previously called man-made greenhouse effect, for decades. And then unless I open up that conversation highlighting the power of that industry, it doesn't get through often. So Bernie puts it the way I've been putting it, maybe the way you've been putting it. And it's a helpful, useful way to put it. But more than that, today I'd like to talk about this idea of Bernie's electability, about the Democrats, and this is really for Democratic primary voters. If you're not one, you're still welcome to listen. If you are, great. So there's a debate going on right now in the party, and put out by the media also, that Bernie's not as electable, he's too far to the left. Well, how do we define that? Okay, does that mean highlighting the power of these industries? Does that make him too far to the left? I mean, that's the main difference, I think. So he has this articulable campaign theme. And I think if you talk about climate change without putting it that way, then you're leaving yourself wide open for the denial industry to come in there and fill in the gaps of what's causing climate change. You know, there's money on all sides, all that kind of nonsense. That's one. Two, you might wonder, well, why am I a Democratic primary voter? If Bernie's the first candidate articulating it the way I do, why have I been feeling I have no choice but to vote for Democrats? Here's what happened. My main issues are, one, I'm concerned about the long-term survival of our species. So I believe that key to that is protecting the environment, getting away from this polluting, very toxic, consumer-driven economy. And for people to do that, I believe they need to get away from this rat race we're in. This we feel trapped in our jobs. We're worried about how we're going to pay the next bill. You know, worried how we're going to afford our health insurance. Is our health insurance going to cover when we get sick? Often not. It's a rat race. So easing away from the rat race, transitioning to a greener economy, those I feel are cornerstone to the long-term survival of our species. So Democrats, I've never heard them at the national level, even really the local level, campaign that way. So you'd say, well, why are you voting for them? Well, I know from decades, a lifetime of reading environmentalist organizations' literature, that when it comes to specifics, they're responsive. They're not always with us, but they're responsive. Maybe since going back to Reagan, Republicans have been battling us on that. So I'll give you an example. Keystone XL pipeline. Keystone XL pipeline, this major pipeline. Obama was originally going to support that pipeline. That's how I remember Democratic President Obama. So we environmentalists, protested. I remember protesting Obama about pipeline issues. He relented, sided with us. Well, Trump got in there and said, forget that, I'm pushing that pipeline through. And Trump's been just pushing through oil and gas, trying to push through drilling in the Arctic on protected lands. But most people do not know that. The public is barely aware of that because unless you're reading these environmental magazines like from Sierra Club, Union of Concerned Scientists, Environmental Defense Fund, unless you are reading those, you don't know that. So the public isn't aware of that. So then there's this narrative that both sides are the same. Both sides are the same. They're both big corporate dominated political parties. The Democrats and Republicans are both the same. And you hear that from the left and the right. So what happens is unless you're like me and you're really involved in a cause, you don't know that Democrats are more responsive, that they're the ones more likely to lower, to raise auto fuel efficiency standards or something like that. You don't know that because the media isn't talking about it because the media is a corporate-owned media and they don't want to rock the boat either. So you may not realize that. So I then am stuck. People like me are stuck explaining to our friends, hey, yeah, they're both dominated by big corporations, but the Democrats are more responsive. See, the Democrats don't campaign typically on these issues. So they tend to campaign more vaguely. And what happens is that my Republican friends feel like, well, both sides are the same. I'm voting with Republicans because they got a narrative. They don't put it there, but they have a narrative. And the leftist friends are like, well, I'm not going to vote for these corporate Democrats. They're not doing anything. Both sides are the same. They're both warmongers, etc. So the Republicans win. So let's take a look at a couple of recent elections that are within my memory. Let's go back to John Kerry versus George W. Bush. Here's the danger of this I'm a moderate person, campaign strategy. So John Kerry, it was during the Democratic primary, it was Howard Dean versus John Kerry. And Howard Dean opposed George W. Bush's invasion of Iraq. And then he also, from what I remember, gave solid talking points why he was against it. He was kind of a little bit like Bernie Sanders, some articulable, simple messages. Not as much so, but similar. John Kerry was the more, supposed to be the less offensive, less polarizing, because he didn't say he was against the Iraq war that I can remember. He campaigned on, hey, I'm John Kerry, I'm competent, I'm ready to serve. So where did that leave everybody? Well, John Kerry won because the Democrats were afraid, they don't want to go with somebody polarizing. So John Kerry won the primary. He went up against George W. Bush. He's ready to serve. Anybody remember that? Ready to serve. And people like me had to then explain why we're supporting John Kerry because of these issues. He's more responsive on these environmental issues, etc. But no one else knows about that, and John Kerry didn't campaign on that because he doesn't want to, upset any of the people who are making money in fossil fuels or the industrial military complex or the health insurance industry. So he's not campaigning on that. He lost. Okay, he lost, right? And losing on a vague campaign doesn't just mean he lost. It also means that activists, people who are trying to make this world a better place, he left us with no talking points. Okay, Howard Dean, I believe, would have left us with talking points. We don't have to come up with our own. Now, go to the next round. You've got Hillary Clinton versus Bernie Sanders in the 2016 primary. Bernie Sanders had the same basic campaign he had then as now. All the money's accumulating at the top. This in these certain powerful industries. This explains the healthcare crisis. This explains the climate crisis. This explains the opioid crisis. This explains the endless wars. Hillary Clinton was campaigned on. She's competent. She's knowledgeable. She's experienced. She won. She won the primary. Then she went against Donald Trump, who had a narrative of they are pouring over our borders. So now you've got, I'm Trump and protecting you, from these foreigners, these illegal immigrants. I'm protecting you from them versus I'm competent. Okay, Hillary Clinton, I'm competent. So it didn't work. It didn't work. And then people like me again, I now have to explain, no, Trump is actually a front for the reckless elements of the business community while he's getting you to look at supposed illegal aliens. And I say supposed, like I said last time, most of the changes they've done have really been aimed at legal immigration. So while he's getting everyone focused on immigration, they're opening up new oil and gas drilling, deregulating. And I have to make that case. The Democratic Party isn't making that case, other than Bernie Sanders is making that case. Elizabeth Warren to a degree. So, we can do this song and dance again and say, okay, well, Bernie's too polarizing. So let's go with someone, vaguer and what's going to happen? Are they going to win? Maybe, and maybe not. And if they don't win, well, what are we left with? Okay, we're left with nothing. We're left with nothing. So, the media barely ever connects the dots from any of the extreme weather to climate change, to fossil fuel driven climate change, right? They don't want to rock that boat with all the money in the fossil fuel industry. So if you put Bernie up there, he's going to explain it that way. So if he loses, we still have that to continue, our struggle, if you want to call it that, or our fight, or just our vision for a healthier, more peaceful, cleaner, less consumeristic, less polluting society. If it'll leave us with that. So whereas, but if he wins, well, he's going to be really responsive towards going towards a greener, less polluting economy, less dominated by powerful business interests. And if you don't campaign that way, if you run a vague candidate and they campaign on, hey, I'm concerned about climate change, but they're not highlighting the power of the fossil fuel industry. They're just concerned about climate change. Well, it's so vague and nebulous that it leaves so much room for the denial industry to just fill in the blanks. Like I said, this is a corporate news media. So you've got the general media, like National Public Radio. I know it's a listener supported, but they also barely connect the dots to fossil fuel driven climate change. And then you got Fox News, which will happily connect the dots away from the fossil fuel industry. Fox News, I believe, actually, which is a Murdoch family owned enterprise, I believe they actually were highlighting wildfires in California as being started by an illegal immigrant, if I remember correctly. But while leaving out the fact, that the fossil fuel-driven climate change has heated this planet, that the hotter air masses, retain more moisture, leading to drier conditions or more flood-like conditions. But they left out the whole climate change connection. So I hope this video has helped. I believe it's important to have an actual campaign. We don't have to agree with everything Bernie Sanders stands for. I don't. I'm not entirely liberal, and I'm conservative on some issues, but I really appreciate that he has a campaign that activists like me can take talking points from and put out there. I hope this video has helped. If it has, please share it. Please please subscribe to my channel. Please click that notification bell so you know when I've got another one coming out. Please, if you're a subscriber and a supporter, please offer some constructive criticism. What's working for you in these videos? What isn't? Or if you'd just like to converse on the topics I'm putting out, please feel free to comment. And until next time, peace be with you.